ओम श्री गुरुभ्यो नमः हरि ओम श्रुतिस्मृतिपुराणानामालयं नमामि भगवत्पादशङ्करं लोकशङ्करं यदि देहं पृथक्कृत्य चिति विश्राम्य तिष्ठसि अधुनैव सुखी शान्तः बन्धमुक्तो भविष्यसि. So bandha in Sanskrit, in English bondage, you can see very similar structure of the words. So people are bound. Where they are bound, how they are bound. The bondage is described in quite a few ways. You should understand the bondage quite well. It is like understanding the blueprint of the jail in which we are incarcerated. So once you know the blueprint of the jail, you will be able to get out of it. That's why. Not that the blueprint is some sacred thing or any such thing. You can really make an effort to get out. The Guru will give the blueprint of the jail only. Guru will not, he cannot escape on your behalf. You have to escape from, that is your job. So, you see, we describe this bondage in multiple ways. Like, we are caught between, we are caught in this cycle, chakra, of birth and death. Janma mrityu, that cycle. So, punarapi jananam, punarapi maranam. Between the two, after maranam, before taking birth again, punarapi janani jathane shayanam. Like that, the bondage is described. Now, when you say punarapi jananam, etc., it is a nice way of doing it, but somehow it looks as if there is no urgency about it. Now it is not immediately, no. Death is a bit away. That is how people believe. They want to believe like that. Death is away. And all blessings are also chiranjeeva, etc. Jite raho, like that. That is the Hindi movie blessing. Jite raho, jite raho. So go on living. But we would not go on living. It will end, you know. Generally, it will end sooner than expected. People assume quite often, but it ends sooner than expected. And it's a blessing also, you know. The blessed thing ends, nothing more we want. So, this is the death. So, but still, we keep it a bit away. Death means we keep it away. We tend to keep it away. Therefore, the cycle of birth and death is not as urgent. Generally, it is not very urgent thing. We would like to get out of it, but it is not very urgent. But then there is another cycle, sukha dukkha, the cycle of pleasure and pain. Generally, the worldly people are unhappy people. They are unhappy. In spite of appearances, in spite of their big bungalows and cars and very rich food that they consume. Like that, they wear costly clothes and they have very costly gadgets. Everything looks wonderful, but people are unhappy. That is obvious, you know. That's why we have so many clientele for Vedanta, for temples, for astrologers, for everybody has a clientele, everybody. Because people are unhappy. They are helpless, directionless, unhappy, not knowing what to do about it. That is the bondage. And there are occasions when we seem to be happy. Those occasions are far in between. And short-lived occasions, we don't know how to remain happy. So this is how the sukha dukkha cycle continues. Even when you experience happiness, it is quite more often, it is a kind of it's a kind of a worked up happiness. Worked up happiness. Like, today is my birthday, so I should be happy. Therefore, try to be happy. And the two, all of them are surround the guy and say, happy birthday, this and that. Suppose I am crying at that time, there is a huge problem it is. In fact, I should not be crying, I should not be unhappy. Probably I am not unhappy because they are all saying happy, 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 and I also feel like happy. Therefore, you work up a kind of happiness. And how to work up? From within, no happiness comes. Because the person is ignorant, from within what happiness comes. If happiness comes from within, he is liberated. Therefore, it fails to come from within. It doesn't come from within. Therefore, you try to work up some kind of a happiness from the size of the cake, big cake barakho. Now, having such a big cake before and a knife in the hand, I should be happy. Therefore, maybe I am happy like that. People are nuts, I tell you. How they manage with this kind of tomfoolery, I don't know. Make believe. How they live with it. It's such a self-deception to that extent, I tell you. If somebody holds the collar and asks, are you happy? The guy is not happy. But he tries to pull out some kind of happiness out of him. What a self-deception. All these ceremonies, celebrations, etc., they come under that category. Am I exaggerating? And then people live on the verge of sorrow. Presently they are happy, 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 but any moment they can fall into the depths of sorrow. This is how we live. To put it briefly, there is an unsatisfactoriness of it all. Unsatisfactory. The rich people are more unsatisfied, more unhappy. And they are scared. They are scared. Because what will happen to these riches? They become a noose around the neck. Artham anartham bhavaya nityam. Shankara. Therefore, this is the bondage. And we are looking for freedom from that bondage. Now, how the freedom arrives? Know yourself as you are. That is the solution. There is no other solution. It is Atma Jnana. Know yourself as you are. Just know yourself as you are. I will tell you a mantra. You have to know yourself as you are, right? Then how you are or what you are, I will give you a mantra. You meditate upon it. It's a meditation expression. You are single and simple. That is what you are. Single and simple. So the appearances will be there, some structures around will be there. Around the person, a few structures will be there. Family, relation, social situation. All these things are put in place by the society. And the religious structure around you is also put in place by the society. The society decides which religion you have to follow. For example, the religion that you follow is you follow it only because your parents followed that religion. Very simple it is. There are many beliefs in the world. Why do you believe in this particular way? Because your parents believed in that particular way. You believe in that particular way. There is no other reason for it. This is how the structures that are around us are put in place by the society and the family. So family is part of the society. And therefore, they are not you. They are not. Next to Vakya, Natvam Vipradikaha Varnaha Nashirami. You are not a Brahmana, you are not a Kshatriya, you are not this class, you are not that class, you are not this caste, you are not that caste. Then you are not this ashrama and that ashrama. Even sannyasis also. We come across many sannyasis that they are very proud that they are sannyasis. Means there is identification with the ashrama. And then another most weird thing is they celebrate the day of sannyasa. When they have taken to sannyas, they celebrate that day. Like marriage day is celebrated by the samsaris. The sannyasis celebrate sannyasa day. Now you are celebrating sannyasa day means you have not really taken to sannyas. You have not really given up, If you given up, you don't remember it, If you are remembering, you have not given it up. If you have given up, you are not supposed to remember it. But the fact that every year you remember, I have given up, I have given up, I have given up, means you have not given up anything. Quite often, an ashrami, that is what is said. I jumped into the next verse, but I will come back to the earlier verse. So, this attitude of identifying with a stage in life, ashrama. The Atma is not ashrami, That is also a superimposition. And that is also part and parcel of the social morality. The society puts all these structures around you and you identify with them. And so, therefore, you are simple. Means no caste, no creed, no race, no religion. In Vedanta, we don't identify with the religious title. We don't. Unless you mean by religion the true religion. Like Advaita Sarva Bhutana. That is the true religion. What is religion? People follow the religion. What is it? It's a belief. It's a belief, right? And so, belief is not going to liberate anybody, I tell you. Belief divides. It doesn't liberate. For liberation, you need the oneness. Oneness liberates. Fragmentation doesn't liberate. Fragmentation binds. These are the laws, like a law of gravity, a universal law. Similarly, in Vedanta, the basic law is the vision of oneness liberates. The fragmentary thinking, once you think in terms of fragments, caste, creed, race, religion, etc., these are the fragments. The fragmentary thinking binds. The understanding of oneness liberates. And therefore, unless you mean true religion, when you say religion, otherwise if religion taken as mere belief, it divides. It divides as much as politics divide people. Really. In India we see this game going on all the time. Therefore, so you don't want to get into that kind of identification also. Therefore, you go into Sarvatma Bhava. Everything, all existence is myself. That kind of vision. One. Sarvam Kalvidam Brahma. Aham Brahmasmi. You go into that kind of vision. That's why I say you are single. And you are simple. You are simple and single. Simple means no identification. Single means all the relations, etc., that are put in place by the society as the structures, they are known, they are realized, they are seen to be what they are. They are contextual, incidental, and unreal. A relation is used only to this much. You give love, you put love into that relation, only that much, nothing more. The moment you take advantage of the relation, the psychological advantage, not physical, the psychological advantage, the moment you try to take from the relation, now you are bound already. Because you have given reality to the relation. So you should not do that. The relation is not real. Therefore you are single. Caste, creed, race, religion, etc. are superimpositions. They are not real. Therefore you are simple. So this is how, when you realize that you are simple and you are single, the picture around you, that is called the world. The picture is very complex and very extensive. The picture is very complex and extensive, whereas you are single and simple. I'll give you an example. An artist, a painter, he holds a pencil in his hand. The tip of the pencil will have a tip, It is simple and single. Whereas, as he moves this tip on a piece of paper or on the canvas, a complex and extensive picture emerges. That is your relation. You are like the tip of the pencil. That is you. The tip of the pencil is you. The timeless, dimensionless point of awareness. That is what you are. Simple and single. The picture that comes out of this tip, the picture comes out of you. Without you, there is no picture. You are the light of light in which every picture appears. And the picture is very extensive and complex. You should not be misled by the picture. You remain aware of that point of awareness, the dimensionless, which is spaceless, and the timeless point of awareness. I am, that I, pure I, which has no dimensions and which has no time. That is the point. You are simple and single. And that point is everywhere in the picture. And the picture is a creation. It is not real. So this is how you have to understand yourself. In that understanding, you become liberated. When you are liberated, it won't hurt the people around you. That you need not have that fear. When you are liberated, it will bless more than you. It will bless the people around you. Suppose you are a loving person. Instead of a demanding and a possessing person, you are a loving entity. Then what a blessing it would be for people around you. Therefore, even people around also need not be afraid of this guy getting liberated. So, unnecessary fear. So, therefore, you have to understand yourself correctly. You are that dimensionless, timeless reality, the awareness absolute, that is what you are. And you should know it. Suppose you dream that you are a tiger. Do you cease to be a human being? No. In spite of dreaming that you are a tiger, you remain a human being. Similarly, you are that pure light of awareness. That is what you are. You imagine that you are a Brahmana, Kshatriya, wife, husband, all these things you imagine. In spite of your imagining, you do not cease to be the pure light of awareness. That light of awareness alone is upholding the picture on the screen, which is your world view, or world conception of the world. What you call world is like a picture on the screen. And the picture is already, I said, complex and extensive, but the picture is unreal. Only the light, which is everywhere in the picture, that alone is real. So, once you realize this, the bondage comes to an end. In fact, even a hint of it will release you from the bondage. A hint of it. If you take it to your heart, single and simple, you meditate, I am simple and single. You meditate upon that, you feel liberated at once. That is the beauty of that single and simple. Kevaloham. Kevalaha is that. Single and simple. Chidananda Shivah Kevaloham. So, that is how you become free from the bondage. You see, the bondage is really not real. It is only an appearance. Bondage is appearance. It is a dream. The bondage of samsara is a dream. The dream continues because you have not really understood that you are dreaming. Yeah, that's why it continues. If you understood that you are dreaming, the dream won't continue. How the dream ends? Suppose you are dreaming. The dream has become a nightmare. How do you end it? Within the dream, there is no solution. Suppose an astrologer comes in the dream. Will he be able to end the nightmare in the dream? People are crazy, Superstitious. That is the problem. Superstition. You come to Vedanta to pursue superstitions. Is that what you want to do? So when I see people, they give up a lot. In fact, I have a lot of sympathy to these young people. In Rishikesh, I meet them. They give up quite a few things. They are very accomplished young people, highly qualified and all that. They could do quite well in the world, making money and enjoying pleasures. They could do all that much better than what the world people are doing. But they give up all that and come to Rishikesh and take to some belief system. You came to here to pursue a belief. To pursue a belief, you need not come to Rishikesh. You sit at home and continue your job, make some money and enjoy a few things also and continue a belief. Belief continuation doesn't require that kind of a sacrifice and that kind of a study. What is there to study in a belief? That is what they do. You see that? And then they pursue superstitions. Pick up a few superstitions which are not there in the city. Come to Rishikesh and pick up a few, some pyramid or this or that, something of this or that, or some system or that, some chakra or something or there, some name. And pick up a belief or a superstition or some a star or this and that. And pick up something and what star are you talking about? Why don't you, idiots like series are there, idiots physics, idiots chemistry, like that there is a series.
Dummy. Yes,
Dummy, not idiot, dummy. Okay, why don't you read some dummy astronomy? Dummy astronomy, just read a small book, it will be, you read it. Or you ask your daughter or son who is studying 7th class or 8th class, sit with them and ask them what they know about stars and listen to what they say. That is enough to shatter the silly superstitions that people are holding on to. That is enough. You don't need anything more than that. Therefore, the point I digressed. In dream, the dream has become a nightmare. Life is a dream, nothing more than that. But it has become a nightmare now. We are unable to end the nightmare because we do not see the dream as a dream. When you see the dream as a dream, that is the moment when the dream ends. Therefore, this is how the dream continues. The bondage continues. This is how it continues. Once you realize that this is all a dream, that moment it ends. It just ends. So, the bandha muktaha, the bondage, the essence of bondage is the mixing of the real with the unreal. That is the essence of the bondage. I will not spend much time on it. I am concluding that verse and I will answer a few questions. So I am taking it easy this last session. Okay. Conclude that bandha. Once you understand the bandha, the liberation from it becomes obvious. Like having the blueprint of a prison cell. And you will be able to get rid of it and come out free. So the essence of bondage is the mixing of the real with the unreal. Mixing of the real with the unreal. That is the bondage. Bondage is here and now. I am not talking of some conceptual bondage. The Vedanta people, they are talking of some conceptual bondage. They don't say we are in bondage. I am in bondage. He doesn't say that. I am doing quite well, had some half a dozen idlis in the morning and attending a Tattvabodha class. I am doing great. There is people are in bondage, samsara. Like that he is studying conceptual bondage. If only the guy looks at himself and say, I am in bondage, he will be liberated. So I want you to look at it that way, not conceptual bondage. What is bondage? The mixing of the real with the unreal. When is bondage? The present state is the state of bondage. Now is the bondage. In this bondage, you look at yourself. How do you feel of yourself? How do you see yourself? Let me demonstrate it to you. Okay? This is how I see myself. I am a Swami from India. That is how I see myself. I can see like that, right? You don't mind. That is how I see myself, right? That is the bondage. Because that is the mix of real and unreal. What is the real? I am is the real. The Swami from India is unreal. What do you mean by India? And what do you mean by America? It is all one Prithvi. And then what do you mean by Swami? The body has a special quality called Swamihood. And Indiahood. Do you find where is Swami here and India here? Where are they? You are just imagining. You are just imagining. Therefore, you may say that in a context, in a conversation, to answer the other person appropriately. You may say, sir, who are you? I am a Swami from India. You can say like that. But suppose you take it to your heart, you are in bondage. You understood? Suppose somebody says, I have demonstrated my case. Suppose somebody says, I am the husband. This is the Indian husband. Could be Indian husband. I don't know how it works the other way. I am the husband. And he feels very strong about it. That is how the guy sees himself. And what does it mean? I am the husband means, I mean in a classical sense, I am the husband means I can dominate this lady. That is the meaning of it. And I do that. And when I do that, she keeps quiet. And it looks I am victorious and she is vanquished. At least in a given context. But in her vanquishment there is victory. In this guy's victory there is vanquishment. What a confusion the person is. How confused the people are. In that I am the husband, in that I am is real. The husband is unreal. That is how the mix-up happens. This is the adhyasa. They study adhyasa without understanding properly. This is the adhyasa. You know adhyasa bhashyam, Brahma Sutra bhashya and all that. You see, you look at yourself and ask the question, how do I see myself? That is the question you ask. And the answer comes. In that answer, I am refers to reality. I am refers to reality. The what I am is unreal. And the how I am is unreal. I think if you get this, the bondage which I am describing, if you get this, you have got the entire essence of Adhyasa Bhashya of Shankara. This much if you get. You look at yourself. This is the self-inquiry, you know. This is self-inquiry. Atma vicharaha. Vicharah kartavyaha. Brahma jijnasa. Brahma, which is Atma. Pratyaka bhinna Brahma. The Brahma which is not different from the Atman. That is the Brahma. And you have to inquire into that Brahman. Where do you inquire about Brahman? The Brahman which is not different from Atma, where do you inquire? Here. Look at yourself. If I am Brahman, then why do I see myself as Brahman? Do I see myself as the fullness? No. How do I see myself? It is not a conceptual Vedanta. It is not concept we are talking about. How do you see yourself? How do you look at yourself? How do you see yourself? I don't want to say even look. How do you see yourself? I see myself as the father of two children. You got it all wrong, and it will punish you to no end. This fatherhood, it goes to the cremation ground, and when the body is put on the fire, then the fatherhood goes. Till then it punishes the guy. He should have understood Kate Kanta Kaste Putra long back. So when you say, I am the father, bas ho gaya, you are now bound. And what is that bondage? The real I am is mixed up with the unreal father. See, while for putting the child into the school, father's name you have to write, put your name. There it ends. They are not our children, they are God's children. We did not bring them into this world, they came into this world. We did not create them, they came through us into this world. That is all our role. And that too, that our role also is not designed by us, it is designed by the Supreme Will. So the society gives a name. The society gives a name, Father. Why do you take it to heart? Some contextual or interactional, name it is. They give a name. You see, once I went to some of these islands, the Bahamas, then Jamaica, like that some islands are there around. In my prarabdha, I ended up in one of those islands. And I was booked in one resort. What will I do in a resort? But I was sitting there in the resort. Before I go there, so they wanted to put a band to my wrist. I said, why do you? No, I don't want any bands. Band is bandha, I said, I don't want any band. Why do you want to put a band? I don't want any band. And I am not going to use all your... They said you can use all these... I don't want to use any facilities. I will sit in my room, somebody comes and picks me up, I need not tell you, I go my way and I come my way. I don't want any of these facilities. I see those facilities, I am not interested. No, we have to put the band. Why? That lady insists that I should put the band. She did not say it, but she almost hinted, unless you put the band, you cannot enter the place. Then I asked her, what is the problem? They said, sir, you come and go, we have to recognize, the security people will watch the band. And we are putting you some special band. There are grades in the bands also. We are putting you some higher grade band. So how long I have to keep? You have to keep it as long as you stay here. And I have no choice now. I put my hand like that and she put a band. I looked at it, I cannot remove it. I cannot remove it. And I stayed for a week. And when I was coming out, I told, what about this band? She took a scissors and cut it. Now this band, should I identify with this band? I knew every second, I knew that it is not myself, it is not mine, it has nothing to do with me. All these titles that the society gives, father, brother, this and that, they are like those bands. They have no reality. Just for the contextual reasons, they give that. Interactional purpose, they put a band. And so then I understood the security people will be watching the band all the time. If they don't find a band, they won't allow him to come inside. Therefore, there is a purpose. And we go along with it. We don't take the band to our heart. Suppose after cutting, I want to keep it for memorabilia. You must be crazy to think in those lines. So, therefore, the essence, the adhyasa I am describing, so you look at this, you see yourself, ask the question, how do I see myself? Ask that question. No, to serve my mother, I should see myself as a daughter. Not necessary. Not necessary. In fact, when you are really serving your mother, you don't even remember that you are a daughter. And when there is love, the daughter idea vanishes. When the daughter idea lingers, there is no real love. There is only attachment. Therefore, these bands are like that. You have to hold on to them for a reason, for a context. Otherwise, they are not real. Therefore, you love. I am not saying anything about love. You love, but don't identify. People just do the opposite. They identify, and hence they do not know how to love. Therefore, this is the essence of the bondage. The what I am is false. I am is real. The what, I am father, I am brother, I am this, I am that. Then some of these ideologues come and they want you to proclaim yourself with a hyphenated identity. This is another problem. Hyphenated identity. So I am Indo-American or Americo-Indian. Then why India? Hindu. So I am Hindu-American. Then there is a group, we say we are not Hindu. We are Indian but not Hindu. Therefore they will say we are Dalit American. Something like that they will start. So some politics begins. This hyphenated identity. You have to declare yourself with a hyphenated identity. This is another propaganda. This is the ideologues' work it is. These ideologues are very problematic things it is. Anyway, the point that I am making again and again and again, when I see myself in a particular way, the I am of that seeing is the truth, is the real. The what of myself is unreal. That is number one. Number two, the I am is real. The how I am is unreal. How is unreal. Like I am happy, I am unhappy. Both are unreal. The bliss is real. The happy and unhappy are pleasurable, painful. I am pleasurable, wrong. I am painful, wrong. I am hurting, wrong. You are not hurting. You imagine that you are hurting. People say, oh, we are hurting very much. This is American expression, we are hurting. Then I ask, when did you have your food, earlier food? Oh, 1 hour back. Then you are not hurting. You are doing great. What you are hurting? No, I had my food 2 days back. Oh my God, you are really hurting. Come on, there is some pocket money, you take it and go and have a bagel and a cup of coffee. That is hurting, I understand. Therefore, the how I am is false. They are illusions. The what I am and the how I am are illusions superimposed due to ignorance. And one more thing, in this bondage, this dream continues, the dream appears to be beginningless. Earlier birth, later birth, this is how they start. That is a model which has some very limited application. I am not against it. That is part of the religious thinking. That is part of the belief system. There is some logic in it, very rational thinking. I appreciate all that. But I am talking at a different level. That is the model which fits into continuity. But I am talking where there is no continuity. I am talking quantum physics, where there is no continuity. It is discontinuous. The dream is not continuous. The bondage is not continuous. It is momentary. It is created and recreated moment to moment by the memory. It is the memory which renews this bondage moment to moment. It is not continuous. This point is very important because people believe that this bandha, the bondage, is continuous. Continuous since anadi, timeless, millions of births it is continuous. When you look at it like that, then you are now sure you are not going to get rid of it any soon. Because the blessed thing is coming from birth to birth to birth and it has come to this birth. So how can you get rid of it so soon? You cannot, Only it will take a few more births. And therefore now you will never be liberated. You will stay there only. The dream is not continuous. The bondage is not continuous. The bondage is momentary and it is renewed from moment to moment. Like when you go to the movie is not continuous. It appears continuous. It is not continuous. It is a frame, blank, frame, blank, frame, blank. It is momentary. And moment to moment, you renew that scene, the sequence, etc. You renew. It is momentary. The samsara is also the same. So once you realize that you are imagining, that you are dreaming, that you are superimposing, immediately you shall wake up. But there is a problem here. Bandha mukto bhavishyasi. People, they don't want to wake up. They want the dream to continue. They don't want to wake up. Really. They want the dream to continue. Because the Silicon Valley and very wide roads, very good cars and all that. The dream seems to be kind of fulfilling and very satisfactory. There are some issues here and there, some problems are there, but overall the dream, let it continue. We need not wake up immediately. We will see. That's why the dream remains. So, the bondage is optional. It is not compulsory. So people do not want to see the truth because they want the dream to continue. But let me conclude by saying, a day will come when you will long for the ending of the dream. There is one big longing for the ending of the dream, for the freedom, for the liberation. There is the longing. With all your heart and mind, you long. And you will be willing to pay any price. The price is dispassion and detachment. That is the price. Price is not dispassion, which is detachment only. Discrimination. The price is discrimination and detachment. Viveka and Vairagya. That is the price you have to pay. No other price you have to pay. And so you are willing to pay any price. And the price is discrimination and dispassion. That is how the price, that is the price you have to pay. Or you can say, you lose interest in the dream itself. You have no more interest in the dream itself. That is the price you have to pay. Once the price you pay, you wake up. Because the dream to continue is not inevitable. It is not inevitable. Some people say our prarabdha is this, Bhagavan has done like this, we cannot change it. Like that they say. Inevitability they put into it. They do everything to continue the dream, Every single thought structure they add to it, just to continue the dream. It is now my horoscope says that I will be liberated in 2024. Look at that. Horoscope will tell you when you will be liberated. Like that. Therefore, the dream need not continue. It is not inevitable. So, you see yourself clearly. That clarity will liberate you. Bandha mukto bhavishyasi. Now I will try to answer a few questions. And if still time is left, maybe I will speak a few more things, but there are quite a few questions. Let us see. Abhayaha katham. How abhayam katham? It is not abhayam. So some Sanskrit problem. Sanskrit is not written properly. After listening for 5+ years, why do I still have bhayam? Fear. Now, you see, it is like what kind of listening is also there, so it is difficult to comment upon it. There are two ways of looking at it. The fear that you have, you examine whether it is a biochemistry related fear. Biochemistry means the brain chemistry. There is a chemistry in the brain. Some amino acids, etc., some serotonin, dopamine, etc., some of these things are there. And these amino acids are produced in the brain in micro quantities. And it is like sugar, the sugar in the blood test. 99 is below 99 is okay, but 99 plus is not okay. Like that, the range will be there. Range. Sometimes the range is so narrow, one way or the other, you are out of the range, and therefore you are in trouble. These brain chemicals like serotonin, etc., they are also in a very narrow range, and you are in that range, you are doing great. But less or more leads to some temporary difficulties. And therefore, if the bhayam is persisting, see whether it is a normal bhayam or maybe slightly abnormal bhayam. There is a general anxiety disorder, GAD. Maybe it falls into that. Therefore, you don't try to bring Vedanta into that. I don't know, I am telling you, no harm in consulting a good physician. I am not suggesting anything more than that. Go to a good physician and tell your experience, and the physician will guide you. That is one way of looking at it. But it is not that kind of fear that you are talking about. The fear which is there in all people in a normal way, and that is the fear, which is the part of the samsara bandha, the bondage. If that is what you are talking about, it only proves that you don't know what is called sharanagati. You see, I tell you what people do. They say God, God, God dozen times per day. And they worship God in all kinds of rituals. But they are not godly inwardly. Within, they are not godly. Within, they are very worldly. But outwardly, God, God, God says so much. Therefore, it is not the outer forms of religion. They are not the true religion. In the true religion, the focus will not be on the outer forms of religion, where the masses put all emphasis. That is not the true religion. In the true religion, the focus will be on the inward devotion. So if you are a true devotee, you should be able to surrender to the higher, the supreme will. Sharanagati, the surrender. I am saying very briefly, surrender is not that easy, it's a big topic, but you pay attention to that. The surrender, you surrender your life, the so-called future, etc. You surrender to that supreme will, and then you relax. That is how you do. You see, a person is traveling in the desert by a camel, and he was sitting on the camel, and he has luggage, and he was carrying the luggage on the head. Then somebody said, why you carry the luggage? Because it is painful, the luggage carrying. Why do you carry the luggage on the head? Put it on the camel. He said, no, the camel will have to carry more weight. Why to do that? How is that? So, the supreme will runs the show. You are not responsible for anything. You are only dutiful, no responsibility. You understand that and relax. So surrender to the Supreme Will and now you will relax. Then there will be no fear. That is the way you have to go about it. But in spite of all this, there is 5+ years Vedanta and all that, some fear persists. No harm in discussing with a good physician. What is the way out from ahamkara, mamakara and ragadvesha? You see, you meditate or you inquire into that center called me. Me. Me is the center. Once you have a center, you will have a circle. The circle is mine. Me is the center. This is the movement in your consciousness. Watch that movement. Understand that movement, it binds you. That is your problem. And you realize that and watch that movement and spend quality time in the company of the Mahatmas, also in the Shastra Shravanam. Quality time you spend in such things, that satsanga, you spend quality time in that. Gradually, hopefully, the mamakara and ahankara, together with ragadvesha, they are all together. Ahankara, mamakara and ragadvesha, they are all together. It is the ragadvesha which gives reality, the reality to the ahankara, mamakara. So all of it will get neutralized. So you have to do some such thing. I am new to Vedanta, it's all right. If we take care of even one of our bad habits like say anger, we become self-realized. Yes. Yes, suppose you become angerless. Suppose you become angerless. Then you become desireless also. Because unless you are desireless, you will not be angerless. Kama eshaha, krodha eshaha. While entertaining, while nursing desires in the heart, you cannot avoid frustration. Krodha is frustration, you know. Frustration is also krodha, not only just shouting on others. So as long as you entertain desires in the heart, you will be subject to frustration. And but suppose, as you say, you address that issue and become free from frustration, anger, etc., then you become desireless. Desirelessness is godliness. You are self-realized. Yes, sir. Go ahead. Go ahead and conquer anger. You will be self-realized. Tell us more about consciousness and how we can increase our awareness. Consciousness, I have said, consciousness is the content of consciousness. What is waking state? What is waking state? The content of waking state. Right? That is the waking state. Right? What is the dream? The content of the dream. Similarly, what is consciousness? The content of consciousness, the waking consciousness. You know? That is what consciousness is. And then, so how to increase awareness? You be aware. That is a good question. You see, suppose you are walking. Did you ever notice? You have to look into yourself all the time. The Atma Vichara. Suppose you are walking on a machine, or you are walking somewhere outside in the open. Generally, walking in the open is a blessing. But always it may not be possible. You walk on the machine, which is good. What is going on while you are walking? You ask this question to yourself. What is going on? You know what is going on? The mind is like a monkey. It is running hither and thither while you are walking. Right? You know what does it mean? It means the walking becomes mechanical, not awareful. Because the mind is dragging you here and there. Right? So that must be your experience. Everybody's experience would be like that. Now pay attention to that. You make walking awareful, not mechanical. Awareful. Means you are aware of every single step taken. But to do it properly. Don't create traffic snarls and all that. Okay? Don't fall from the machine. Okay, in that awareness, so do it rightly. This is called walking meditation. You are aware of every step. Like I am speaking. I am speaking. When I am speaking, am I thinking something else? No. I am aware of every word I am speaking. While you are listening, listening is not that easy. While you are listening, sometimes you are aware of what you are listening, but sometimes you are not aware of what we are thinking of something else also. Right? So now you know, when you are thinking of other things, what you are doing becomes mechanical. When you are not thinking of what you are doing, not thinking, when you are aware of what you are doing, when you are thinking of other things, when you are aware of what you are doing, see the difference? You should not say, I am thinking of walking. There is no thinking of walking. There is only aware of walking. There is thinking of all unnecessary things. So this is this versus that. And therefore I notice that I am thinking, the mind is like, it is the mind, not you really. You become a witness. So the mind is like a monkey running all over the place while walking is going on. And thereby the walking has become mechanical. All this doesn't work when you walk with somebody else and chit-chat. This is not, you have to walk alone. Otherwise, that is, what I am saying has no value. To walk alone, in solitude. And then you notice what is going on. Don't condemn yourself. Sometimes in spite of your best effort, you may be still running hither and mind may be running hither and thither. You notice it, be alert. Then the mind will come back. Then the walking becomes meditation. That is how you improve your awareness. That's one example. Similarly, other things also. Is Atma controlling mind and body, or body and mind controlling Atma? It is not about controlling the necessity. Is electricity controlling the bulb and filament? No. The bulb and filament, are they controlling electricity? No. They come together. This is called a Chit Jada Granthi, a knot between, not chaotic, not between the real and the unreal. Body mind is the unreal. The awareness, the light, inner light is real. They come together. The real reflects in the unreal. Neither controls the other. What is there to control? The unreal. Therefore, don't give reality to body mind. In yoga, yoga is Hatha Yoga. Body mind is real. Atma is also real. Don't fall into that trap. You don't need that. Body mind is unreal and Atma alone is real. Be aware of that. So, you be a witness to the body mind. Don't try to control. Be a witness. Now you will be doing fine. Can Atma communicate? Yeah, in Silicon Valley it can communicate. Because in Silicon Valley there is some place where you can talk with your ancestors' Atmas. $100 is the fee. And you have to pay the fee in the beginning itself. Okay? And then there may be some waiting also. If you people want to know Atma, which Atma you want to talk? Recently my father died and I want to speak with my father's Atma. Okay. Please wait. Pay 100 rupees and wait. Then you will be taken into a dark room, alone, where this gentleman will be there. And in the dark room some light will be burning, a small oil lamp. And then a slate and some pencil and paper will be there. Then you will find that the pencil is writing something on the paper, some invisible hand is writing, and that is the father's Atma. Father's Atma is writing. So now you have communicated with the father's Atma. This is what, you know where from I got this information? I got it from a Vedanta student. And he believes it. I said, go and jump in the lake. You believe it? He Believe all that? And say, Vedanta for 3 years I have studied. What Vedanta you have studied? Therefore, Atma communicating and all that is all unreal, it is all not correct. You should not fall into such traps. To conduct a few sessions of guided meditation, that is the request. Yeah, a few I could not do, one I have done. Thank you. A doctor having difficulty convincing patients to go beyond the body and illness and realize the real you. You see, as a doctor, you realize the self. First, you are not a doctor. Once you realize the self, you are not a doctor. So first you realize. I am the doctor. In that the doctor is the unreal, I am is the real. First you realize yourself. Once you realize the truth, you will be able to inspire others around you. It is like a light, a candle is lighted. It won't remain inert. It will start filling this space around with light. Self-realization is such a thing. Once you realize yourself, you will be able to inspire all people around you. And you will be able to do that. Therefore, first you realize. That is number one. Number two, so when you know, you study Vedanta, you attend classes and study Vedanta, then your world view changes. You now know that Atma is distinct from the body, mind, etc. Then your approach to a suffering patient itself changes. You will be treating the patient with more love, with less commercial attitude and more love, etc. And you will be kind of overstretching yourself to help the patient. That kind of a loving and caring attitude will come to you naturally. And then you see the patient also as your own Atma, not the other person. In spite of their suffering and their ignorance and all that. Then, even while treating the patient well, with care, with love, you will drop, depending upon the context, the kind of interest the patient has, the kind of openness the patient has, depending upon the context, you drop a piece of advice here and there. And that will work wonders. Without doing all that, you treat the patient as a patient and maintain the distance, the psychological distance you maintain, and then try to give a piece of advice, it won't work. Therefore, the entire ambience has to undergo a change, which will happen if you realize yourself correctly. The ambience will undergo a tremendous change, and in which ambience the patients will be inspired to know themselves better than what they are doing presently. This the doctors do. The knowledgeable doctors, good-meaning doctors, they do. They keep the patients at ease, even while treating them with love. So you have to work on those lines. Life has. People do not want to accept end-of-life issues. This is there everywhere, you know. This is there everywhere. They want to live long. I don't see that as a problem of certain patients in America. I don't see it like that. It is ubiquitous. Everywhere it is there. You come across many swamis and heads of mutts and places who conduct elaborate rituals to prolong life. You know that. So a poor, a silly patient, he doesn't know any Vedanta, etc. He is a very much worldly person. He has no pretensions of studying Vedanta or any such thing, and he wants to live a little longer for whatever silly reason. That is not entirely unexpected. When you see all these vardis trying to prolong their life by performing rituals, can you believe it? Therefore, you don't try to categorize the patients into a particular mold. They are what they are. Human consciousness is the same everywhere. You go to Delhi, human consciousness is same. What? Unhappy and insecure. Take a flight and come to Moscow, human consciousness is again the same. Unhappy and insecure. Take a flight to come to London, again human consciousness is unhappy and insecure. Take a flight and come to New York, human consciousness is unhappy and insecure. If not as Brahma we are all one, at least as unhappy and insecure people we are all one. That is how the society is. Therefore, I don't want to characterize a certain set of people, patients in US etc. are like that. In India also it works out pretty much the same way. But one thing I should say, in India there is an undercurrent of spirituality in the common people. And they find it easy to accept the supreme will, easier than the people in the advanced societies. So that kind of undercurrent of spirituality is very unique to Indian psyche. That is something worth noticing and worth emulating. Therefore that point remains, but in spite of such minor or important differences, mostly human consciousness is unhappy and insecure, and therefore these traits, they are universal, they are found everywhere, and we have to look at them with an understanding mind and try to guide appropriately. In USA we have all these reactions. Please elaborate. Yeah, that is the one. I'll finish by 8:10, right? 8:10 I'll finish. 8:10, 8:15 I'll finish, and then we'll proceed with the Mahini. Asmin yatha dehe, dehinosmin yatha dehe, kaumaram yavanam jara, tatha dehantara praptir dhirastatra namuhyati. That is the verse. It is roughly pointed out here. Please explain. You see, that verse is verse brings out a principle called extrapolation. You are not the body. Because the body is changing, you are not changing. The body versus the embodied. That is the description there. Dehinaha. Prathama will be Dehi versus Dehe. Prathama will be Dehaha. So Dehi versus Deha. The embodied is the Dehi. Deha is the body. They are two different things. But unfortunately we mix them up. We take Dehi as Deha and Deha as Dehi. That is how it happens. This mistake you should not do. You look at the Deha. I'll ask you, till now, suppose a person lived 60 years, till now, how many tons of food he must have consumed from birth? It is estimated roughly 20,000 tons of food was consumed. Okay? Now, you do not weigh 20,000 tons, not even a fraction of it. Your weight remains within a certain range. Give or take a few kgs, within a certain range it remains. That means what? The body is being changed continuously. The old parts of the body, old cells are disintegrating, new cells are getting created. Therefore, the body is overhauled many times over in 60 years. In Ramayana, Kaikeyi asks for 2 times 7, 14 years. Why 14 years? Because in Manusmriti, there is a law, if a person is not around, not known where is he for 14 years, he may be considered as dead and you can do Shraddham to him. Like that there is a law, Manusmriti. And therefore Rama goes to the forest and he will disappear there, because those who go to Dandaka in those days, forest, they will never come back. And wait for 14 years, and then Bharata can do Shraddham to Rama, that is the end of it, and Bharata can rule for his entire life. That is her thinking. Rather, that is the thinking of the Manthara, she put into Kaikeyi's head. That is 2 into 7. Why not 7? Yeah, to be on the, to err on the other side. Instead of erring on the wrong side, you let us err on the right side. So make it very certain, 2 into 7. 7 years, the entire body gets overhauled. And make it 2 into 7. 14 years, now the guy is no more. Even if the guy comes back, he is not the same guy. Name may be the same, but the person is not the same. You can say you are equal to dead. We have done Shraddham already. So the point is, the entire body gets overhauled once in 7 years. Kaumara, Yavana, Jara, already the body got overhauled 3 into 2, 6 times. The body is not the same, but the embodied is the same, the changeless. You have to discover that. So on those lines, these verses proceed. In addition to reading and listening more, what else should we to keep focus in our search for discovering ourselves in our daily life? You see, the Atma Vichara, that was the topic for the entire 10 days. You have to do self-inquiry. And Shravana, Manana, Nididhyasana are very viable means of self-inquiry. So you have to pursue on those lines only. Here is a question. Have you read J. Krishnamurti's writings? Is it based on the Upanishads? I have read Krishnamurti's writings. I have read. Not just Krishnamurti's writings. I have read Indian philosophy of all major philosophers, some Buddhism, and then a lot of Western philosophy also. I love Western philosophy. I love philosophy in general, and I read extensively whenever I get a chance. And I love Kalidasa as much as I love Shakespeare also. Therefore I go on reading all these things. And what Krishnamurti teaches is not different from what Upanishads teach. Yeah. Krishnamurti is an Advaiti. The only difference is he doesn't use the language of Sanskrit or Upanishadic texts or Vedanta texts. That language he doesn't use. And he doesn't quote from those texts. He tells from his understanding. But from some of his statements, it can easily be understood that he has studied all these things. In fact, he was brought up in an atmosphere of knowledge and study and all that. All the Oriental literature he must have studied. He doesn't mention any of that. Therefore, it looks as if he is coming from some other place. No, he is coming from the same place. He was a Telugu person and studied all these Shankara, Buddha, all those things he studied. And his teachings are, they nicely fit into Advaita Vedanta. Brahmanistha can be realized only in the waking consciousness, yeah. Not in the deep sleep state. In the deep sleep, you cannot, there is no you, therefore there is no sadhana or any such thing. So, not in the dream also you are not there. You are in a very weird thing it is there. And the dream state is very, very hazy, very nebulous, very like fog-like. Therefore, there cannot be any concrete effort to know the self. That is not possible. Only in waking state it is possible. And that understanding is very correct. Difference between Sakshi and Pramata. Oh yeah, they are different. Pramata is the knower. A pole of the dipole of knower, known. There is a dipole. Knower, known. Knower inside, known outside. That is the dipole. Sometimes it is described as Triputi also by putting in the Pramana in between. So, make it simple. So, Pramata, Prameya. There will be Pramana in between. It is always there. So pramata is the knower, prameya is the known. You cannot have one without the other. Without known there can be no knower, and without knower there can be no known. Therefore it is one of the two poles, the pramata. That witness is not a pole. Witness is the witness of both pramata and prameya, and the entire movement of pramana. That is the witness. I am the speaker, and you are the spoken to. Vakta, vachya. That is the dipole. The witness is neither vakta nor vachya. Witness is witness of both vakta and vachya, the entire movement. That is the witness. And your swarupa is the witness. Your swarupa is not the pramata. This is in waking state and dream state. In both cases it is same. That's why you are the witness of dream state. You are not the dream. You are not the dream person. In dream you are a person. That is not what you are. You are the witness of the dream state. And once you realize that you are the witness of the dream state, the dream ends. And once you realize you are the witness of the waking state, then this waking state, which is another form of the dream only, it ends. The bondage ends. We have discussed that. So, thank you for your kind attention all these days. The classes went well, and you have borne with me. You are bearing with my style of teaching. And so every guy has a particular style of teaching, like they have a style of walking, what they call gati, gait in English. You look at those words, gati, gait. Just very same word, it looks like that, right? So the gait you cannot change. You have a gait, whether it is good or bad or whatever. You cannot change. Similarly, the style of teaching you cannot change. Once or twice I tried to change the style of teaching to fit into people's expectations. I tried it. Because, you know why? Because I don't have any particular agenda for the people, nor even to myself. Like I have to teach, that agenda I don't have. It is all spontaneous effort. Suppose I have an agenda for myself. I am a teacher from this tradition or that tradition. That kind of a self-agenda I have. Then I can modify that agenda, etc. It should be possible. But I don't have an agenda even for myself, as much as I don't have agenda for others. Therefore, I tried the modification, it never worked, and then I gave up. When you try, it doesn't work, then you give up. And so I remain my own style. It is not even my own, it's a style which is the operation of the Supreme Will. And you were bearing with it, despite of some ups and downs. Mostly the style doesn't validate people's thinking and conditioning or beliefs, etc. And I try to rise above all these fragmentations and boundaries. And that is how it looks like. I am a witness of this style myself. And therefore, those people who are sitting here and listening, and those people who are listening to it somewhere in the world, sometimes it may even appear as criticism. It is not criticism, it is only critiquing. We don't criticize because we love all. Love all. Therefore, no question of criticizing. Always trying to understand only, not criticizing. But critique is a different thing. Critique is critique. So, the critiquing, if we stop, then there is no teaching left. Therefore, you are bearing with me, and so I appreciate all that. And I even apologize if any untoward statement was made, not so appropriate statement is made in that flow, it's a flow. It is not a designed thing, it is entirely a spontaneous effort, in spite of some books or papers that are sitting before me. And therefore, so I thank all of you. And I appreciate your hospitality, and God is great. So I now conclude. Om Purnamada Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnamevavashishyate Om Shanti 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 Sarve Bhavantu Sukhinah Sarve Santu Niramayaha Sarve Bhadrani Pashyantu Ma Kaschit Dukkha Bhag Bhavet.
Namaste everybody, my name is Vijay Kapoor, and one thing that I will repeat what I said at the midday classes, which is this: after these extraordinary 10 days of classes in the evening and 9 days for the midday, one thing should be very clear to you, which is the statement by the Shastra that to study Vedanta effectively, you need a guru. There are so many statements. The one that comes to mind, which I said earlier from Mundaka, Guru meva vikachet shotriyam brahmanishtam. So there, the exhortation is not to study books alone, but to resort to listening to a guru. And these classes that we have had should convince you that there is a difference. The kind of subtlety between the accumulated jnanam and the instant understanding, putting your finger into the fire and knowing exactly what happens and carrying that is not a memory, those kinds of things are very difficult to convey in texts, almost impossible. Even for something like learning violin, you just cannot do it by books, let alone the study of Vedanta. And to have a guru like Swami Tattvavidarandaji, who has an enormous background, enormous experience, enormous understanding himself, and an enormous understanding of how to communicate to the people, this is an extraordinary thing that we have been blessed with. And my job is to thank a number of people, but I would start by thanking Ishvara, because without his personal intervention in bringing Swamiji here, within a matter of 2 or 3 weeks of planning, is just amazing. And it is really our fortune that we were able to participate in this extraordinary dialogue that enriches our life and helps us to reach where we want to go. So I would like to thank a number of people. I would also like to thank the owner of this building, J.P. Vajanula, who really made a very nice hall available for us. And we are very happy about the place that we could hold these classes for 10 days. So many volunteers. In fact, I would like to start with Jyotiji for coming and giving us some beautiful songs at the end of each one of them. All of the volunteers have worked so hard. It's just amazing. Chawla, Raj, Meera, Chandra, Madhu, and so many other people. I would be remiss if I didn't include that, have worked so hard to make this a wonderful experience. I would like to thank you And let me tell you why I thank you. Because if we invited Swamiji, and he will never say this, but supposing he says, how many people are you expecting? And if I told him maybe 2 or 3, he may not have come. And I was hoping that we will have 50, 60, 70, 80 people, but to have all of you here enabling us the excitement and the enjoyment of this has been wonderful. So thank you for all of you. How do we thank Swamiji?
No
Already
words.
thanked.
So,
No words.
as Swamiji said, Swamiji is the Shruti Swarupa. And Shruti is feminine. That means he's a mother to us. Do we really ever thank our mother? Even though we have Mother's Day, this is kind of funny. All my life, I would never call my mother and say thank you. So one day, about maybe 15 years ago, she called me and said, "You didn't call me on Mother's Day." And I said, "Mom, I didn't know you knew about Mother's Day." She said, "Yes, everybody else is doing it." Don't thank your mother. You thank your mother by living up to her best hopes for you and her aspirations for you. And let me suggest 2 things that we can do as fulfilling the aspirations as the appropriate thank you for Swamiji. The first one was an interesting answer that Swamiji gave today at 12:30 to a question. In fact, the same question was asked here, which was, beautiful answer. Question was, how do we maintain the focus? How do we all love what don't say that. We all learn what we all do. And then we are not able to maintain the focus. And Swamiji's answer was just so beautiful. He says, when you love something, will you ever ask a question about that? How do I maintain my love? No. So I suggest to all of us that we should learn to love who we are, our own selves. This is something that we have to learn to love. Even a baby, when it is born, is not instantly loved by the parents. It takes a while to get accustomed to it. So the first thing that we should do is to make sure that we have everything that we do to love our learning, our knowledge, and our understanding of who we are. Then this question will go away. So this is the first task that we can do to thank Swamiji. The second thing we can do, and I think that's the one thing that Swamiji was so clear about in all these days, is that beyond everything else, the most important thing is self-inquiry. Atma Vichar. In our Shastra it says that for you to reach your goal, there are several helps required. First of all, it is Ishvara Kripa. Then there is Shastra Kripa. Then there is Guru Kripa. And in the end, there is Atma Kripa. And Swamiji's point is very much in line with this, that ultimately what you have to do is to make sure that you assiduously inquire about, why am I not free? What is it necessary? And of course you have all the help from it, from other sources, but you have to do that. So that is the second promise that we can keep in order to thank Swamiji. And but I would be more honest that Swamiji, you took the time to come here and you entertained us with numerous jokes, and beyond that, the wisdom, and we thank you very much for that. You're an extraordinary person. going forward, we have lots of tools available here. The Arsha Vidya Center was established about 20 years ago from the advice of my Guru Swami Dayanandji. And I had so many different conversations with him. And he had said, do not worry about starting ashrams and centers and so on. Just conduct classes as a learning center. So I've taken that to heart. As you know, we have many students here. If you would like to inquire about our classes, the best thing you can do is to make sure that you have the registration card. I'm going to write to you about all of the things that we do and invite you to participate as an inquiry that continues between the teacher and the student. And so for that, I invite you all to do it. In fact, I would let's just add to this, the very last thing, that we are all finishing 2 of the texts out of the 3 classes. And I would like to get a feedback from you as to what kind of, when are you available, what are the days, and so then I will reconstitute the classes sometime in the February time frame with your help. So I'll send you an email regarding that, but make sure that you are on the list. Now, I invite all of you to please come and take Swamiji's blessing. Thank you all. Hari Om.